So this is my second year selling at markets, and I just wanted to give you some tips on how I tripled my sales in 1 year. If you're new here, I'm an artist known as Just That Indie on Instagram and TikTok. And today I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how to triple your sales at markets. And so I'm gonna go straight into it. No BS or fluff at all. So the first tip is to create a tier of items to sell. So when I first started selling at markets, I sold 2 things, stickers and keychains. So for my stickers, they were like $2 each. And then my keychains, which were about, I think $6 at the time. So in the beginning, I'm gonna make up a number, but let's just say I made $100 from my first market. And that takes a while if you're going to sell $2 stickers and $6 keychains. That means I would have to sell about 50 stickers to make $100, or about 16-ish keychains to make $100, or you can have a combo of both, but it's still a lot of inventory that you have to go through to make those $100. And for most markets, they're typically only a few hours long, of like maybe 4 or 5 hours. The longer ones that I've been to were about like 6. But unless you're at a convention or something that have customers that are expecting to buy, you're going to be just at a public place where people are most likely browsing and most likely won't have 50 people buying your $2 stickers. So it's definitely hard when, one, your items are on the lower end, and 2, you only have 2 different items to sell. So that's why my first tip is to create those tiers. After realizing that I need to sell 50 stickers to make only $100, I knew that I needed to change my strategy and to create more items that are perceived to be worth more. And that's why I started to create items like my enamel pins or clay magnets, where they're handmade and customers are willing to pay more for them. So for those items, I price it about like $10 or so, and I know that it doesn't seem like a lot from $6 keychains. At least now I don't have to sell, 50 stickers to make $100. Now I only have to send maybe 10 pins or 10 magnets, and that's definitely a lot more doable, especially because these items are more in high demand than just plain old stickers. And then on kind of the same line of tiers in your assortment, but my next tip is to have bundles. People love a good deal or a perceived good deal by being able to buy in bulk. For all my products, whether it's stickers, pins, greeting cards, magnets, I always try to have a bundle option so that they would be able to buy more at a higher price, but they get a small discount on it. So instead of buying just one single $2 sticker, I have a deal for 3 for $5. And let's just say like everyone that goes to my table does that, and they don't buy that single sticker. So I ended up making more money than that $2. I know it's not that big of a jump, but it is more than $2, and you're moving your inventory. And the same thing for my pins. Instead of selling 1 for $10, I can sell 3 for $25. Suddenly, I'm moving through 3 pins and making double the amount. There are a few things that you should consider when running these bundle deals. I think the most important factor here is to make sure that you are still making profit when you're giving your customers a deal. At the end of the day, you don't want to just be giving things for free and giving a discount to your customers for free while you're not making any money back. Because if you do that, then you're just gonna lose out on money, and your business isn't gonna be able to run itself if you keep losing money by giving things away for free. You wanna balance your numbers so that you can at least be in the positives rather than the negative. And you have to be comfortable with the, I guess, percent profit that you want to be making. So for me, I kind of just try to aim for about 50% back from how much I paid for the item. And then the second factor is, do you have the inventory and the assortment to be running these bundle deals? Like, can the customer mix and match enough so that they feel like they are able to put a bundle together? So So for example, I have tons of sticker designs on the table for them to choose from, but if they had 5 stickers to choose from, they're most likely not going to, take up on that bundle deal because there's not a lot of stickers to choose from. They have to figure out, for my bundle deal, 3 stickers to put into their bundle. So is there 3 that they like enough to participate in the bundle deal? And if not, then you're going to be losing out on a sale. So always make sure that you have enough inventory and a breadth of assortment for them to be able to choose from. Okay, my second tip is to create a table that not only catches your customer's eye, but allows them to kind of engage and sift through. This means having it be interactive and browsable. For example, I used to have all my greeting cards in this like bin, and I expected them to just kind of like sift through them as if they were in like a record player store and going through these CDs and everything. But I learned very quickly that that's not the way to go. Because initially I thought, if they do that, then they'll stay at my table longer if they're able to sift through it. But I think where I made the mistake is not being able to catch their attention to even go to my table in the first place. So what I did was I ended up getting like a turntable style display, and because it has height as well, a lot of people from far away who's just like walking around can see this turntable and come to my table and then sift through it or like spin it around to browse. And for me, I normally put my best sellers at the very top or even at eye level, just so that they can see it from far away. And if it's at eye level, they can quickly see it, rather than if I were to put it at the bottom of the turntable, they might just miss it. I think that's a strategy that a lot of like grocery stores do, where they put like the best items at eye level so that you can quickly find the item that you're looking for, especially when it's a really well-known brand. And then once they're at my table, having those siftable, browsable items. For example, for me, I have a box full of stickers that you don't have to like necessarily sift through like I was initially doing with my greeting cards, but it's enough for them to be able to just browse. So there's nothing in my table besides like maybe my like deals box that they need to like really touch and go through. They can just quickly like see everything on the table and like browse that way. And so my third tip is to really know your customer. And that may seem obvious, but you definitely want to be able to know the customer base that's going to the specific market that you're going to. So without knowing that, you don't know how you want to approach your strategy and how you want to talk to them, or even the products that you want to sell to them. For example, I know a lot of my friends do like New York-based markets in like Bryant Park or Union Square that are very like tourist heavy. So what they do is they make a lot of like New York stickers or like New York theme stickers, like a bagel or pizza or something, because that's the customer that's going to these markets. But in the case of one of the markets that I recently went to, I went to a corporate office event. So I knew that even though my pins and keychains are usually my best sellers, I think for this market, my stickers would be my best sellers. Why? Because everyone in the office is either carrying their laptop or their water bottle, and then they're just kind of browsing through my table and a bunch of other small businesses' tables. So I kind of took that to my own advantage, and knowing that I like also work in corporate and I have a bunch of stickers on my laptop and my water bottle. Okay, so while we were filming, my mic decided to die, so I just charged it and I was like, might as well change my location too, and now my dog wants to be next to me the entire time. But as we were saying, because I was in a corporate event, knowing that the customer base was holding their water bottle or their laptop while shopping, I kind of took that to my advantage and took that knowledge to use that to sell the products that I have that could cater to them. So a lot of my conversation revolved around things like, hey, your water bottle looks like it has room for another sticker, or your laptop looks a little bit empty, like let's fill it with some fun stickers. And by doing so, they're able to, envision your products into their lives, whether it's like their laptop or their water bottle or wherever they want to place their stickers. And I feel like conversations with your customers don't necessarily always have to be product based or you feeling like you have to sell something to them. It could simply just be a conversation and finding that common ground to connect with your shoppers. For example, a market that I recently went to, they actually filmed the show Severance. So I kind of use that as like a talking point. So every time someone came to my table, I always start off with the conversation of like, hey, what brought you to this market? And 90% of the time, they're like, oh, we watched Severance, like that's why we're here. And because of that, I always try to have something in my back pocket to talk about when it came to the show, even though I only watched like one season and I barely understood what was going on. But I always try to like have a one-liner or like some sort of talking point so that I can relate to them and create that relationship with my customer. And not only will you build that relationship, but you'll get them to stay at your table for longer. And if they're at your table longer, like while they're talking to you, I feel like they're just like looking at your product rather than just like talking to you like eye to eye sometimes. Maybe they do. But a majority of the time, they're just like browsing around your table as well while talking to you. And then because they're at your table for longer, they might just end up buying something because you're so nice and like you're talking to them about a show that they're watching. And whether they purchase from your table or not, I feel like it's always beneficial to have a good relationship with shoppers or potential customers because they're gonna always have like a good memory of you, and when they see you again in like another market or online, they might end up actually converting on you because of that good experience they had while talking to you. And then my next tip is to be on social media and also be consistent. And the key here is consistency. This is a tip that a lot of people tend to give, especially people who are very big on social media, because they didn't start with, hundreds and thousands of followers. They were able to grow that way because they were consistent and they were always showing up for their followers. For me, I'm still a very small content creator. I'm a small business that don't always get recognized, to be honest. But when you're doing local markets and you're doing them often, especially if you're doing the same markets or like in the same area, it's very common for people to just know you, or like they follow a certain organization or a vendor page where they're like, oh, that's like a new vendor that I haven't seen before. I'm gonna go check them out. I feel like there were so many times where I get people coming to my table saying they were looking for my table specifically because the organization posted about me, which is crazy because, like I said, I'm like such a small creator in the grand scheme of things. But when you're a local, you're going to be more recognizable. And then another tip in regards to social media is that you kind of gotta fake it till you make it. And that's not to say that you should be, faking your numbers, because don't do that. But instead, you should be pretending to be the super ultra successful small business that you aspire to be, because people love to follow others who inspire them to be the best version of themselves. They love to follow people's journey who seem like they really have it all together. From the, aesthetic market, the type of photography that they have, the stories that they post that are just very complimentary to the products that they're selling. And again, this seems like, very superficial, but people really eat that up. People, again, love to be inspired, and they love following those who are inspirational. They want that feeling of like, how can I get there too? And if I follow this person, I might just be motivated enough to get to that point as well. They want to know that their business can succeed as well, because I feel like there are just a lot of like negativity in your own head that sometimes you just need that like extra person, that influencer, to let you know that you can also succeed. And then my next tip is to have a good background story for yourself. Practice your spiel and what your brand represents. This should be kind of like a one-liner for your customers who are going to your table or your booth for the first time. You want them to be attached to your brand and understand why they're buying from you, because you're not just another Amazon or another Walmart or a big box retailer. You're a small business, and most likely you made your own product. You designed this product. You probably handcrafted this product yourself. It's not something a machine made. So oftentimes when people kind of browse my table and then I come in with my spiel and say things like, I'm an artist, I designed everything on this table, you kind of see like a light bulb kind of go off in their head and be like, oh my gosh, like you actually made all of this stuff. Once they know that kind of story behind the product, they are more likely to support your business, because they know that it takes a lot to make the product that you made. Plus, they would love to support a local artist. So always let people know how your products are made, what you're all about, what your story is. You put in all that hard work, might as well, humble brag a little bit. You should be your biggest hype person. So those are all my tips on how to triple your sales at markets. I hope you learned a lot and you were able to kind of apply that to your next market. But until next time, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this.